Hello, I'm LuNEJuNE, and in today's video, I'll be showing you the final recap of Season Shield and the best PvP decks that were viable during the time. This video can hopefully help players at the Golden Class to play which decks in PvP and which decks are currently the best. This list was made not only by my experiences but several other members of my Discord community and also other people. I hope you enjoyed this video and leave a like and subscribe to the channel for more informative videos. Let's dive in. With the ever-increasing numbers of nuke players, the random dice community all came together to find a direct counter to nuke dice. The answer was Metastasis. This single dice can destroy nuke. Meta's many bosses take 4 total pips of nuke to kill them even though they are miniature. This results in nuke players being forced to use nuke to kill the meta bosses, causing them to lack SP. Other than that, this deck can also counter more other decks like Yin Yang by pressuring them with Hell and finishing off with a meta boss. The counters to this deck would be a Lucky Hypersyn, Solo Lunar, and Scopo Lunar. Ruang is pretty simple. I have made videos on this deck countless amounts of time on this channel, so channel subscribers are probably very used to me saying this name out. Ruang is an offensive style deck and tries to ruin the opponent's board / setup to win the game. There has been several nerfs to this deck overall, counting the key nerfs for both Yin Yang and Royal. Ruang can only survive up to wave 8 or 9 before being hit by a boss. This greatly reduces the waves this deck used to be able to survive and therefore less time to send to ruin the enemy. Counters to Ruang would be any deck that can easily survive past wave 10. These include decks such as Hellphone Nuke and Hellphone Shield, and even Combo. This deck can somewhat kill Solo Lunar if the player is competent at sending Royals. However, when they can't finish the enemy off by the start of wave 8, they are doomed. One of the best decks last season, but currently it isn't so great. The main issue was nuke decks and its infinitely scaling one-shot shenanigans, but also because of its younger brother, Scopo Lunar. Scopo cannot follow up with Scopo Lunar and will always lose. This deck is also very weak against assassins, so Hypersyn is troubling to face against. Counters to this deck would be Hypersyn, nuke decks, and even Scopo Lunar. The infamous grinding deck that scared a ton of Yin Yang users has finally come to an end. This doesn't mean the deck is bad, it just means the era of Flameflow Royal has ended. This deck used to be able to counter all decks. However, with the introduction of nuke variants and combo variants, this deck kinda became useless against them. To win with this deck, you must have a strong start and finish off with Royal Chains. However, with nuke and combo, Royal attacks are just supports to them. You might give more nukes to the nuke user, or you might give better merging choice for combo users. Flameflow Royal is definitely a solid option, but it is hard to survive against nuke and combo. With a diminished chance of meeting a deck with switch dice, Hypersyn can now be free and actually be useful for once. This can end the game in less than 10 seconds, and this deck is theoretically considered one of the best methods of grinding trophies. However, there's a catch. This deck is all RNG based. If you don't get bounty in the first 5 or 6 dice, you will pretty much lose. And also the bounty nerf really didn't serve this deck well at all. The counters are pretty obvious and they are switch decks. Yin Yangs were its biggest foes, but with the decreased number of Yin Yang users, Hypersyn was dominating PvP for some time. Solo Lunar variants are always great. They are usually always reliable and they all serve a purpose in the ever-changing PvP meta. However, Solo Lunar with double growth always was in the meta. There were decks like Solo Lunar Sack, Solo Lunar Hack, Solo Lunar Royal, and such, but double growth was always just good. However, the counters to this deck will be Royal decks and Hypersyn. Also, if you have too much pips on your board, you can easily get board locked, so keep that in mind. This is theoretically the best PvP deck since Combo has theoretically the highest damage in the game and also has Lunar and Scope to back it up. However, when it comes to a real PvP match, even surviving wave 3 might be challenging to this deck. This deck just has too many counters. In fact, almost every single deck that can somehow affect your board as well will be tragic to Scopo Lunar. Assassin to take out pips to lower DPS, Royal to mess up with Lunar Scope setups, IX to just hack the dice to make it miserable, and even Starve decks can also be troubling. But once you get a decent setup, you can easily get to high waves most of the time, outliving your opponent. Unless your opponent has nuke, then well, good luck. I also recommend to use if you have a high class combo and Lunar. If you don't have those two ready, you shouldn't play the deck. I already said Solo Lunar variants are always reliable, but what about a grindable Solo Lunar variant? Yes, you're right, and Solo Lunar Flow / Time can be used to pressure enemies and making them fall to the doom. With Flow and Time both being a passive onboard type of win condition, these two dice go very well with Solo Lunar, which needs a stable setup. These two decks can pretty much counter all decks, especially the Time one, and the main counters to these are Hypersyn and nuke decks. Very reliable, also with the addition to the new Blessings board. A lot of players think Nuke and Hell is just a survival DPS dice. However, this is completely false. Nuke and Hell can also be used as a win condition. Hell can take out mobs and send ghost mobs to your opponent, flooding their field. Nuke on the other hand can assist this by one-shotting mini-bosses so that Hell dice isn't stuck on trying to kill the mini-boss. Typhoon is there for the early DPS plus a cooperative dice to Hell. The main counter to this deck is Metastasis dice. Yes, that's the only real counter, nothing else. Disclaimer, you need a high class shield to use this deck. This is the best PvP deck because it can just last a long time. Also has 0 SP issues thanks to absorb dice. This deck can theoretically go to infinite waves with no SP issue. The only downside to this is shield active timers and the fast small mobs going through them. This is why you need a high class shield dice. Other than that, this is very safe to play and the only real counter is metastasis dice again. Thanks for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed this video and like and subscribe to see more.